Hello, today we are going to read Chicken Sunday by Patricia Polacco. Stuart and Wilston are my neighbors. They were my brothers by a solemn ceremony we had performed in their backyard one summer. They weren't the same religion as I was. They were Baptists. Their grandma, Ella May Walker, was my grandma now. My babushka had died 2 summers before. Sometimes my mother let me go to church on Sunday with them. How we loved to hear Miss Eula sing. She had a voice like a slow thunder in a sweet rain. We walked to the church and back. She'd take my hand as we crossed College Avenue. Even though we've been churching up like decent folks ought to, she'd say, I don't want you to step in front of one of those too fast cars. You'll be as flat as a hen's tongue. She'd squeeze my hand. When we passed by Mr. Kandinsky's hat shop, Miss Eula would always stop and look in the windows at that wonderful hat. Then she'd sign and we'd walk on. We called those Sundays Chicken Sundays because Miss Eula almost always fried chickens for dinner. There we colored greens with bacon, a big pot of Hoppin' John, corn on the cob, and fried spoon bread. One Sunday at the table we watched the paper fan flutter back and forth, pulling moist chicken fried air along with it. She took a deep breath. Her skin glowed as she smiled. Then she told us something we already knew. That Easter bonnet in Mr. Kandinsky's window is the most beautiful I've ever seen, she'd say thoughtfully. The 3 of us exchanged looks. We wanted to get her that hat more than anything in the world. Stuart reached into the hole in the trunk of our wish tree in the backyard. He pulled out a rusty Band-Aid tin. The 3 of us held our breath as we counted the money inside that we had been saving for weeks. If we were going to get her that hat, Miss Eula, in time for the Easter, we are going to need a lot more than this, I announced. Maybe we should ask Mr. Kandinsky if he could sweep up his shop or something to earn the rest of the money, Stuart said. I don't know, Winnie said fearfully. He's such a strange old man. He never smiles at anyone. He always seems so mean. We all agreed that it was worth a try anyways. The next day, we took a shortcut down the alley in the back of the hat shop. Bigger boys were there. They were yelling. Eggs flew past us and pelted Mr. Kandinsky's back door. Just as the boys ran away, the door flew open. Mr. Kandinsky glared straight at us. You there, he yelled. Why do you kids do things like this? It wasn't us, Stuart tried to say, but Mr. Kandinsky wouldn't listen to us. All I want to do is save my life in peace. I'm calling your grandmother, he shouted as he wagged his fingers in Stuart's face. Miss Eula was waiting for us in the living room. Miss Eula, we didn't throw the eggs, I sobbed. Some big boys did, Stuart sputtered. What were you guys doing in the back of the shop in the first place? She asked. We knew that we couldn't tell her the truth, so we just stood there and cried. She looked at us for a long while. Baby dears, I don't want to believe you. I want to believe you. Heaven knows that I brought you children up to always tell the truth. If you say you didn't do it, then I believe you. Is it too bad, though? She went on to say. That poor man has suffered so much in his life. He deserves more than eggs thrown at him, you know. He thinks you threw them. You'll have to show him that you are good people. You'll have to change his mind somehow. In the kitchen, the next day, we thought and thought. How can we win him over when he thinks that we threw those eggs? Stuart asked. He didn't even like us, Winston chirped. Eggs, I said quietly. Eggs? Stuart asked. Eggs, I screamed. I went to the kitchen drawer and took out a lump of beeswax, a candle, and a small funnel with a wooden handle, and some packets of yellow, red, and black dye. Mom helped me show the boys how to decorate eggs the way my bubby had taught us, the way they do it in the old country. We made designs on the egg shells with hot wax, then dyed them and finally melted the wax paper off. We put the eggs in a basket, and even though we were afraid, marched into Mr. Kudinski's shop and put them on the counter. He raised his eyebrows and glowed at us. Then his eyes dropped to the basket. Spaspa? He says softly. That means thank you in Russian. Buy skanky eggs, he says, and he looks closely. I haven't seen these since I left my homeland. We didn't throw those eggs at your door, Mr. Kudinski, we told him. He looked at us for a minute. Well, then you have a great courage to be here. You have Kuspa. Then his eyes glistened and his mouth curled in a warm smile. Come, have some tea with me. We spent the whole afternoon talking together, having poppy seed cake and strong tea. He told us about his life. We told him about ours. Then we finally got the courage to ask about doing odd jobs to earn some extra money. He apologized and told us that there was no work. We didn't tell him that we wanted the money for it. It didn't seem the right thing to do, our hearts sang. I tell you this, he said thoughtfully, those eggs are as beautiful as my hats. Stuart, Winnie, and I looked at each other. It's almost Easter, he went on to say. I'm sure that people would love these eggs. Set them up on a table and sell them right there at my shop. For the next few days, we worked very hard. We made almost a dozen skanky eggs. When people came in, they picked them up and said good things like beautiful, splendid, intricate, gorgeous. We sold them all in one single day. That afternoon, when all the eggs were gone, we counted our money. We had more than enough for the hat. Just as we were about to tell Mr. Kudinski that we wanted to buy the hat, he came out with the back door holding a beautiful hat box, gift wrapped. Keep your money, children, he said softly. I have seen Mrs. Eula admire this. It is for her, isn't it? Tell her that I know you are very good children. Such good children. When Easter Sunday arrived, we thought our hearts would bust when we watched Miss Eula open the hat box. She held us close as big tears rolled down her cheeks. Our hearts sang along with the choir that Sunday. She looked so beautiful in that hat. When it was time for her solo, we knew that she was singing just for us. Her voice was like slow thunder and sweet rain. Later that day, as Miss Eula sat in the head of the table, she said, Oh, baby dears, I can die happy now. And after I'm dead on chicken Sundays, I want you to boil up some chicken, bones and gravy and all, and pour it over my grave. So late at night when I'm hungry, I can reach right out and have me some. When we rolled her back and laughed from a deep, holy place inside. Winston, Stuart, and I are grown up now. Our old neighborhood has changed some, yet it's familiar too. The freeway rumbles over the spot where Miss Kudinski's shop once stood. I think of him once in his glorious hats. We had lost Miss Eula some time back, but every time we took some chicken soup to the Mountain View Cemetery and do just as she said. Sometimes, when we are especially quiet inside, we can hear singing, a voice that sounds like slow thunder and sweet rain.